Consistency is key to any effective football club that wants to actually take steps forward and end up where it wants to be. But yesterday's planning is ultimately how today succeeds. So we want tomorrow's today, which is, I guess, just tomorrow, to succeed because of the planning that we do right now. And Leeds United are planning summer moves already, which is absolutely fantastic to hear. So I'm going to talk you through how Leeds United are prepping for a big window in a few months' time and a few different ways that could take shape, including 3 key moves that seems to be potentially involving. First up, we know that this has been prepared for comfortably in advance with Angus Kinnear's comments at the Supporters Advisory Board meeting, where he basically said that there is a constant communication between recruitment and coaching, which puts us immediately in the right direction because we are always having those discussions. We're always spotting where the holes are in the squad, always looking to fill them in and make sure that we are in the best possible shape after the next transfer window. That sort of proactive thinking means that when it comes to needing to sign a player, we know that we've needed to sign them for quite some time. And it means that when we do sign that player, we've got a lot of research behind it. And that includes having made approaches already for the summer that's ahead of us. Specifically, Leeds have reportedly made an approach for Edward Spirtjan on the player side. Spirtjan currently plays for Krasnodar over in Russia. He's an Armenian footballer, international, and very, very good. Was called one of the top talents in his league for the last few years in a row. And in the summer, he will have 12 months left on his contract, which puts him in the perfect position to look for a move. He's also apparently been having conversations with various media groups, and it's looking like a move is on the card for Spurgeon. He is far too good for the league that he's playing in right now. Might want to take a look at the Premier League, and Leeds is a club that have an interest in him. Him being a player that has an interest in Leeds, because that is already being discussed, that like he would potentially have an interest in going to Leeds even if we were still in the Championship, is good. The reason that it looks like he didn't move in the winter is because his team were at the top of the Russian Premier League, and he kind of wants to win a bit of silverware whilst he's there, which is fine, fair enough. Make your legacy whilst you're there, but it's looking very likely that Spurgeon is going to be seeking a move in the summer, and us positioning ourselves for that very early means that we're basically ready to get that done as soon as if we decide to pull the trigger. Another player that it looks like we could be prospectively pulling the trigger on for a permanent move is Manor Solomon, where discussions are apparently still ongoing. It's no sort of question for anyone that his Spurs career is not looking particularly promising at the minute because, well, look at the Spurs squad. Primarily plays on the left flank, and in terms of players that can play out there, Heung-min Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski can dip in over there, Timo Werner. Manor Solomon isn't really a part of that conversation, and I don't think he will be if he were to go back. So it's looking like he's going to be looking for a move away from Spurs just to make sure his career continues to kick on. And it's likely going to be a fairly affordable move as well, because regardless, his contract will be a year shorter by the end of his time at Leeds United this season. And let's be honest, signing Premier League wingers is not cheap. Let's look at the wing players, or the players that can at least go on the wing, that we signed last time we went up. Rafinha was 19, 20 million pounds, somewhere in that region, maybe 17. Aside from that, we signed Brendan Aronson, who can play on the wing, for something like 35 million pounds, and I can't remember if we signed anyone else who can play on the wings. Luis Sinisterra, sorry, that just came to mind. Even he was relatively expensive, whereas it's looking like a Manor Solomon move would be in the 10 to 15 million pound range. Admittedly, not the cheapest of players, but for a player that's done really well in the Championship, that's a reasonably affordable move from a Premier League club for a new Premier League club that leaves a lot of options open elsewhere along the pitch. And the player himself, presumably, wouldn't mind a move either. If we go up, and if he's a big part of us getting promoted and consistently in the first 11, this will be where his career revival has taken place. So I can quite easily see Manor Solomon looking at Leeds and going, that's not a bad permanent decision for me. And that's another one where we're apparently making these conversations happen as early as we can. So if we do get promotion secured before the end of the season, then as soon as possible, we can trigger that deal and say, cool, you're in, Spurgeon's in, and we're getting business done relatively early. Having these conversations quickly means that not only are your options open, so you know whether or not the player actually wants to come to you, but if they are open to it, you get it done very quickly. Also important to note that players do flow in both directions. Players coming in, like Spurgeon Solomon that I've discussed, and also players going out. And there's been some larger ongoing discussions around players that are potentially going out. Specifically, Leeds have been in conversations with Frankfurt to arrange the sale of Rasmus Christensen on a permanent move. This is with very, very strong sources behind it, The Athletic being the main one. I think Baron Cross is the Leeds reporter that currently works there. And it's genuinely looking like a fairly solid thing that's going to happen. The number that's being reported is around £5 million, down from initial estimates of around 12.5 million quid. And the idea being he's not going to come back to Leeds. No one wants to see Rasmus Christensen return to play in a Leeds United shirt. He's doing quite well at Frankfurt, and if we sell him, we can make a profit on FFP. Not like pure profit, but at least on like PSR and that sort of stuff. With accounting trickery, this goes down as profit, which would be wise, I would say, purely because once we do that, well, we can spend a little bit more. You're not at a baseline of £0. You immediately set yourself, let's say, his value on FFP by that point is 3 million quid. You've just earned £2 million of profit, which would be absolutely spectacular, I think, and is something that I hope that we can get done this season. So again, we've got the funds freed up to be able to move instantly in summer, whether we are promoted or not. And the sale question does remain on some other players, and the one specific example I'm going to use here is Jack Harrison. Currently at Everton, not really getting many minutes at Everton, but I am absolutely certain there will be discussions both with Jack Harrison and Everton and various other clubs that might have an interest to ask the question of where's Jack Harrison going to be next season? Because I'm 100% sure it's not going to be Elland Road. If it is, someone link me back to this video because I will have been spectacularly wrong. But the statements that he has made against his time at Leeds United and the various bits that his parents have even said about not wanting to go back to Leeds say that Jack Harrison wants to move. And let's be honest, we'll be looking to facilitate that because that does also financially benefit us. It's just a question of location, and we'll be having those conversations with those locations. So the real question is, what does this all mean? And I would like to sort of set out my stall on this one and say that these conversations do not matter if we don't get promoted. Yeah, having those chats is beneficial, and we might have a bit of a head start on Spurgeon, but at the same time, if a Premier League club do go in for him and we're not promoted by that point, obviously he's going to go there instead because they are going to be in a way better situation than we are to make that deal happen. But with an eye on the future, with an eye on the idea that there is a pretty hefty chance that we go up, having these chats now means that the next window gets significantly easier. We are already building a squad for the Premier League. And that is intelligent, it's forward thinking, and it means that, and I hate to use the buzzword, it means that we can get the urgent business done so we can stay awake and not go to sleep on the potentially interesting deals that might pop up at the last minute. You got to remember, last time we got promoted, we signed Rafinha on deadline day, and no one had any idea that he was going to come in before that. That's the sort of stuff that you can only do if you've done your other business very early. And that's what I think these discussions mean. That we're in the best possible spot to do promotion properly. But at the end of the day, as always, that's what I hope. That's what I think. I think we're going to be heading in the right direction. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. I genuinely think this is a very good idea. A lot of people will say just focus on getting promoted, but let's be honest, the recruitment team aren't the players, so very different conversations to be having. If you enjoyed the video, pop a like on it. That'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're not yet. You could even be a channel member. You get videos like this one an X amount of hours early. Basically, once I've recorded it and uploaded it, it'll be scheduled for the morning. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. It'd be so good to get promoted. It'd be such a good vibe. I'm really looking forward to it. Oh, it better happen now. Let's just beat Sunderland. Let's beat Sheffield United, and then we'll just waltz the league. Points record and everything. Why not? Toodaloo.